I thought living in Korea would be the most exciting time in my life, until I realized I was completely burnt out from trying to make the most of it. No one tells you that when you're living abroad, rest can feel like failure. But today, I'm going to share with you the mindset shift that completely rewired how I view my time abroad, and the steps I took to feel more balanced, more productive, and happy living abroad than ever before. Because why is it that we feel we're wasting time by not doing something productive just because we're living abroad? 안녕하세요, 여러분. 저는 Elsa입니다. Hi guys, I'm Elsa. I make videos all about travel, language, culture, and social issues. 여러분이 와주셔서 감사합니다. Thank you so much for being here, and now let's get into the video. First off, what is productivity guilt? Productivity guilt is the uncomfortable, anxious feeling you get when you're not actively doing something useful. When you're living abroad, examples of this might be, oh, I'm eating alone when I should be eating out with friends. It's Friday night and I have no plans. I should be traveling out to a new city this weekend. I'm not networking or achieving enough. I'm not putting enough things in my portfolio. Or for me, I constantly felt like I'm not creating enough here. I should be creating more content, filming more, interviewing more people. I'm sure many of us have felt this way. If you aren't learning the language, building your portfolio, posting aesthetic cafe pics, traveling to every city within 2 hours, doing all of this consistently, you start to feel guilty and anxious. This becomes especially relevant for exchange students or anyone with limited time in their host country. Every day feels like a checklist. Classes, language goals, side projects, planning and going on weekend trips, and filling up every spare hour with something new and exciting. This kind of schedule would make anyone exhausted, unless you happen to be the Energizer Bunny, I don't know. There's this weird unspoken pressure that comes with living abroad. You can't just exist anymore. You have to be doing something all the time. At first, I thought I just needed better time management, but what I really needed was a mindset shift. I didn't realize it my first semester in Korea, but that exhaustion was actually trying to tell me something. And after I started noticing a pattern, everything changed. I started noticing different triggers that activated these feelings of anxiety. For example, scrolling on social media, seeing someone on an aesthetic trip to Japan, or volunteering in Thailand was the trigger that led to me feeling bad about being alone in my room on a Friday night, even though I was technically traveling living in Korea. This feeling usually motivated me to do one of two things: make sudden plans to feel better about myself, or two, don't make plans and feel bad about myself because I didn't do something useful with my time. Over time, making decisions because you feel like you should quickly leads to burnout. You'll find yourself in this pattern, having lots of energy and doing so many things for so many days straight, going to a new part of the city, a new restaurant, meeting a friend, then spending a few days doing absolutely nothing, beating yourself up about it. Breaking that pattern for me wasn't easy, but I'll give you a clue. It wasn't about doing less. It was about doing differently. After a whole semester of feeling busy non-stop, my second semester in Korea, I finally started asking myself this question. What do I want to do with my time? Not what do I feel like I should be doing with my time? Did I really want to go to that party? Did I really want to stay out all night and be exhausted the next day? Did I really want to book another weekend trip? Or did I just want to stay home and take a needed rest? The first step to rewiring how we view productivity while living abroad is taking time to be in tune with yourself. Now, this sounds obvious, but trust me, it is crucial to managing our productivity guilt. And there are definitely not enough people practicing this. There have been several occasions where I didn't want to go out, I went out, and I was really glad that I did. But other instances where I didn't feel like going out, I did, and ended up regretting it afterwards. So how do we really distinguish between what we want to do versus what we feel like we should be doing? Now, here are 3 quick self-check-in practices you can implement right now wherever you are to lessen that productivity guilt while living abroad, or even at home. First, write down all the origins of what is making you feel stressed, low energy, and unmotivated. Being able to consciously point out these external stressors helps us understand what we are really trying to avoid and what is genuinely draining energy out of us and not worth our time. For me, I realized staying out late with friends too often was taking away from my experience in Korea, draining my energy levels and not something I could consistently keep up with. So, in my second semester, I decided to stay out less and prioritize more quality time one-on-one with friends rather than in big groups. I invite you to do it right now. Pause this video, write down everything that's giving you stress, and then we'll talk about the next step. Second, name your emotions. Are you feeling anxious, guilty, depressed, or maybe even angry at yourself? Let's use the example of money. You've been feeling angry with yourself that you haven't been traveling enough in your host country, but anxious because you feel like you've already spent too much money. The energy you've now spent stressing over the guilt you feel between choosing money over experience leads you to feeling low energy and a feeling that simulates depression. Simply being able to name these emotions individually helps you understand your energy levels and connect it back to those origins that we've already written down. Starting with naming your emotions helps us implement another emotion regulating technique known as cognitive reappraisal. This technique is characterized by cognitively and deliberately changing your perspective on an emotionally charged situation. Let's go back to our previous example. You chose to save money over having another experience, and you feel bad because you feel like you should be capitalizing on the time that you have in your country. However, using cognitive reappraisal techniques, we can try to deliberately change our perspective to now view saving money as something that is lessening our anxiety and therefore becoming an investment in ourselves, and make the case that we can use that money across a larger period of time to have more meaningful experiences in the city we already live, rather than going to visit another city. Studies show that cognitive reappraisal helps with problem solving and rational thinking, and a reduction in negative emotions because we're not pushing them away or suppressing them. Third, solidify your values. I'll share with you a few of my own core values and the palpable difference I felt abroad when I lived according to these values. First, I really value deep friendships and connections. While living abroad, especially on a student exchange, you end up meeting so many new people and it can be so exciting, but making a deep connection with 100 new people is just impossible. For me, I noticed as I started to focus on deepening my relationships with people I really loved and cared about, felt more fulfilling to me than trying to get to know everyone while I was abroad. Next, I've learned that I really appreciate my alone time. While I love to be with people, I also realized that my alone time is really healing for me. Going to a bookstore by myself, taking a walk out in the city, or studying alone in a cafe felt just as productive and healing as going out with people. Next, good health. One of the biggest things for me on my exchange was maintaining my health. This often becomes the last priority for people when they're abroad, and I had a few seasons where I fell into that category. But I always felt better about myself when I lightened my schedule to make time to move my body and go to bed on time. Let me just make a quick little note. If you are not going to bed on time while you're on your exchange, you will not get as much done. That's just in general. Like, get a good sleep schedule. You will thank me later. Lastly, personal growth is a huge reason why I love to live abroad and travel to new places. But for me, I realized that personal growth doesn't mean I have to constantly spend money on expensive trips, the most expensive restaurant, and constantly be meeting a ton of new people. The biggest growth periods for me were when I took time for myself to be with people I really connected with and be mindful of doing everyday small things like grocery shopping, studying in the library, sitting on the subway, quietly observing the small joys of just living in a new country. If there is one thing you take away from this video, it's that simply existing in a place is productive. I've had to relearn this again and again and again. So I hope we can continue to strive towards living by this mindset wherever we are, whether it's traveling or even at home. It took me months to realize that the memories that were really staying with me weren't things that I was checking off of a list. They were oftentimes the quiet and intentional days, or the ones that I spent with people I really loved. The days where I finally gave myself permission to just exist. Thank you guys so much for watching. 여러분 봐주셔서 감사합니다. If there's anything that resonated with you in this video, please let me know down below. I'd love to hear your feedback so I can know what kind of things you guys are interested in so I can improve upon future videos. I put the resources I used in this video down below in the description, so definitely go check those out if you're curious. And yeah, love you guys so much and take care of yourselves. 건강하세요. 안녕.